Aloha and welcome to episode 41 of That Time I Got Arrested. I can't believe I'm 40, you guys. Like, oh, over the hill. I'm old. I've got grudges galore. You know, I am seasoned. I am a podcaster. Like, you can't tell me I'm not, because I am. I get your DMs every day. I get multiple DMs every day. That's like, love you, love you. It's like all of the time that I've spent begging and pleading and, you know, sort of like coercing you for messages and reviews. Like, it's working. It's working. I'm so happy it's working. I need to talk about a few people in particular that it's been working with, you know. One, Rory. Oh, Rory. Oh, Rory. Wow. Rory. Okay, so this is funny, and I'll let you guys into some like inside baseball. So this guy, his name is Rory. He's married. Relax, it's not like that. He's married. His name is Rory. He lives in Florida. We're homies. We're not just homies. We're like besties. We talk every day. He puts a smile on my face. He sends me pictures of him at work. He's got the coolest job. I like can't tell you what his job is, but he has the fucking coolest job of anyone on the entire planet. And he sends me like photos of him, BTS, behind the scenes of his fucking cool job all day long. He makes my day. He says beautiful things to me. We have really like deep, awesome, intimate conversations. He's honestly my best friend. Like, we've never met, but Rory is my best friend, and we're the same person. And like, I would like to feel that way with more of you, but like, Rory's just, honestly, he's killing it right now. Like, he's like he's my number one fan. But the reason he's my number one fan is because I am a huge fan of his, because he like shares his life with me. You know, like, Rory knows me so well. Rory knows me better than a lot of my close personal friends, because he listens to every episode, and he like tells me what episode he's on, and he, you know, tells me how they make him feel, and he tells me what he relates to, and he tells me the shit that like gets to him, and I like love hearing that. And then he tells me about his life, and you know, the stuff that he relates to. He tells me these stories about situations that he's been in that have been similar, or just, you know, pieces of his own experience that can relate. And I feel like if you're a human being, you can relate to the podcast. So my DMs are lit right now. You guys are in them. You know, fuck, like, hit in my DMs. Like, I'll give you my phone number. Like, I'll send you free drugs. Like, maybe we'll fuck. I don't know. You know, like, the world is a big wide place. Like, I'm not opposed to anything is what I'm trying to say. So holler at your girl, you know. My DMs are lit. Rory is dope. There's a podcast that I just recorded an episode of today called Be Positive, and it is truly spectacular. Here's a little inside baseball. I have a special secret guest today. You're not going to hear her voice, but she's been sitting across from me this whole episode and just really like holding space for me. She's been crying. She has been open. You know, I can feel her heart race across this fucking, you know, table in this room, in this studio in Chicago.
Super secret. Hello. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your space with me.
Thank you for holding space with me today. It's so, you have fucking heard it all. Heard it all. Behind the scenes, guys. Behind the scenes. Write a review on iTunes. God damn it. You know what I mean? Like, listen, tell your friends, repost, 5 stars. Do all this shit that I ask you to do every goddamn week, because I love you. I love you. Say it back. I love you, say it back. So That Time I Got Arrested at gmail.com. I would love to hear your story. My inbox has been like low in emails. My DMs are lit, but my inbox is low. So I want to hear all you fantasy tour kids. I want to hear about your wild drug stories, you know? Like, I'll do a whole episode where I just like read them out, you know? So enjoy this episode. Do drugs, drink. The episode is about mental health. My name is B. Casper, and my entire life has been a lie. That's not even my real name. But don't worry, I'm going to tell you all of my secrets. This isn't the story of how I became an orphan. This isn't the story about how I jumped off a 5-story building and survived. This isn't about how I died and came back funny. This is that time I got arrested. I know. What's so funny is like, I love when people hit me up about like the weird noises that I make and like the weird laughs that I have, because like they come from the deepest parts of my soul. So let's just do a little recap / check-in / IRL / this is where we are in real time now versus like a story that I'm going to tell you about that exists, 5 years ago. So it's like, it's been a minute, things like change in 5 years. Your cells in your body regenerate after 7 years. So every 7 years, just like how your credit gets erased every 7 years, that's pretty much because all of your cells are replaced by new ones, and you are basically an entirely new human every 7 years. Humans have like a psychological attachment to the number 7. For some reason, for the majority of humans, the number 7 is like the number of completion. So we have 7 deadly sins, 7 days in a week, lucky number 7, 7 appears a lot in the zeitgeist of our human experience. But 7 is also the number of years that your credit is erased, and 7 is also the number of years that you have to wait before you can petition the governor for a sentence or a pardon of your sentence. Check in. Where are we? Where am I? In real time, I'm in Chicago. As of like 48 hours ago, I moved into an apartment downtown in probably, arguably, contextually, like the best part of the city. I live in the best part of the city. I know, like humble brag. It's not my apartment. I do not pay for it. And I am just incredibly grateful and lucky to be where I'm at in life right now, considering I'm like a huge loser and I have nothing to show for my horrible mess of a life. And I've pissed on every opportunity that I've ever had. The fact that I have an apartment is quite possibly the most amazing thing that could ever happen to me. I mean, first of all, because it offers me like peace and sanctuary in what I consider to be a very chaotic and, unhappy existence. But also it's just like, when you're an ex-felon, try and get an apartment. Like, Erin, you know how hard I've been trying to get an apartment for like the last couple of months. And like, it's hard. I just moved back to Chicago and I've spent the last like 45 days trying to get an apartment, and no one wants to rent to me. And if they do, they want me to pay them an exorbitant amount of money up front because there's a school and I'm a drug dealer. Like, shut up, like just shut your mouth. But, anyways, I have an apartment and I'm incredibly grateful and lucky. I'm the luckiest person on the planet. I have the best bad luck that anyone could ever have. And I'm a fucking stupid, spoiled bitch. And I am so grateful. I'm so grateful for like the tiny pieces of sanctuary that I am allowed to build for myself. And the last 2 nights have been so weird. I'm fallen asleep on the couch and I've like gotten up at 4 a.m. and like gone into my bedroom, and it's just so quiet. And it's like, it's strange. It's strange to be alone, and it's strange to be quiet. And I've like unpacked, and all my stuff is still in storage. This is an apartment that is usually used as an Airbnb from my family, and I'm just being allowed very kindly and gracefully to stay there for, however long I'm allowed to stay there. So let's jump right into it, you guys. Where were we? Where was I? You know where I'm at now. I'm in Chicago. I'm in an apartment. I'm like safe, and I have like the tiniest bit of peace. And oh fuck, I had a good day. I haven't had a good day in such a long time. I've had a lot of like bad days, and like a lot of like, oh my God, how the fuck am I going to keep going? I've had so many moments over the summer where I'm just like, I don't know how I'm going to get out of bed tomorrow. And then some days I just don't get out of bed because I'm like, what for even, And that's not an ideal place to like exist in. That's not like a space you want to feel comfortable in. And I got real fucking comfortable in that space of like, what for even, you know, like, what is this life for? I ask myself that a lot, you know, like, what is this life for? Like, what am I supposed to learn from this? Like, why am I here? What am I doing? Like, why can't I fucking figure it out? Why do I keep making the same mistakes over and over again? Like, why do I suck so bad? Like, why is it so hard? Like, why does everything hurt? Like, why does everyone suck? Like, why is the world being fucking like overthrown in plastic? You know, why is there so much plastic? Why can't we get rid of all the plastic, you know? And then like I go to Starbucks and I buy plastic and I like use this plastic straw and I'm like, I'm the problem, you know? Like, why is this all happening? Anyways, why am I in the mental health unit, not in rehab anymore? Why am I not in Division 17? Why am I such a fucking dumb, spoiled bitch that I got my uncle lawyer to like make a special court date for me so that I could plead my case and so I could get out and so I could get out of rehab? Because you know me well enough to know that even though obviously I have a drug problem, I'm not an addict. You know, that's just like not part of my makeup. I can smoke a pack of cigarettes in a weekend and then not smoke another one for 3 months and not think twice about it. You know, like I can have a beer and have that be the only beer I have that night. Like I can do cocaine on a Wednesday and not do it again for 6 months and not think that I need more, you know, like I just don't have that like unquenchable thirst for substances except weed. But it doesn't count. We've already been over this. It doesn't count. It doesn't count. Weed doesn't count because it's medicine, it's a plant, and it's like I drink tea every day. So like, why can't I have cannabis every day? So I went to, I don't know what it's called, like Division 17 was the name of the rehab in Cook County, but the mental health unit at Cook County was called something else. I think it was called Division 4, I want to say. But let me tell you, compared to Division 17, Division 4 was like a fucking 5-star hotel. Honestly, I mean, like there was air conditioning, there were like showers with heated water, like there were bathrooms that were separate from like the community of people that you were living with, which is like really unpleasant if you think about it, like in a pragmatic way. So there were all these like tiny luxuries that you were afforded because you were crazy, you know, and like everyone was medicated. So, you know, like who doesn't want to take Klonopin at 10 a.m. when you're in jail all day? I spent all day long reading books and playing Scrabble and watching the show Bones. And I went to art therapy and I went to group therapy and I went to see my psychiatrist. And I have been on and off certain medications my whole entire life. You know, like I've been on and off antidepressants since I was 19. I've been on some form of benzodiazepam since I was, 20. It's like Xanax is great landing gear when you've taken a lot of acid. And it's also like nice if you're going through a breakup. And I mean, you guys know how I feel about oxys and anal sex, but that's a different category. So I was medicated. I was comfortable. I was in an entirely different space. And I only really genuinely did about 10 days in Division 17 out of my like 90-day rehabilitation sentence. So, I mean, in their mind, I'm like this drug addict, drug dealer, repeat offender, someone who has clearly shown to have a problem with drugs. But because I had like a slick talking lawyer and because I had like a squeaky wheel, which was me, I was able to like complain my way out of that and put myself in a more like comfortable and advantageous situation. The rest of my time in the quote unquote mental health unit, went by like a fucking breeze. It was just like the easiest time I ever did. I like made oatmeal in the morning and like painted a lot of pictures that I sent to my Gigi. And like, I really just like chilled, like it was not hard. Like I wasn't getting beat up every day. This is so funny. Like major throwback. I re-met the girl. I'm not even kidding you. Remember the girl with the eyes who beat the shit out of me because I had the long hair and I was the white girl with the long hair. The one who did that to every white girl with long hair because she had such a terrible home life that it was easy for her to get resentenced to an 8-day like assault charge. She would get sentenced to 8 days in jail, and 8 days in jail was either like easier than being on the streets for 8 days. So she'd just do it over and over again. And she had like a type, you know what I mean? Like I was her fucking type. And so like I see her again now in the mental health unit, of course, obviously, poor thing, pobrecita. So I see her again and she doesn't remember me. And I will never forget those eyes, you know? So it's like, she was the first person to ever hit me, you know what I mean? In the face. Like she was the first person to ever like beat me up. Like I've never been beat up before. Like I've never been in a fight. Like I don't fucking live that kind of life. I don't even get into altercations like that with women, especially, you know, it's just like the worst I'm going to do is like not text you back. You know, I'm not going to like fucking hit you in the face. But like this bitch like broke my nose. She gave me a fat lip. She gave me 2 black eyes. Like I'll never forget her. And I was like, hi, in the mental health unit. Like, and it was like, I saw her and my heart fucking stopped. And I was like, how are you alive? Obviously, you're still in jail. It's fucking, you know what I mean? Like 2.5 years later from when like I was in Cook County with her and she beat the shit out of me. She didn't remember me at all. And I like brought it up to her and I was like, yeah, you like beat the shit out of me 2 years ago. And she was like, oh, that wasn't me. She's like, that was someone else. And I'm like, no, it was you. Like, I remember, like, I can never forget your eyes, blah, blah, blah. And the best part of the way that story ended is that she was trying to get her GED and she was really struggling with her math. And I'm like amazing at math. Math is like my bottom bitch. I love math. I'm like a math nerd. I was on the math team in high school. I like do math for fun with my friends. I like write out mathematical theories in my journal when I, don't want to talk about what I'm really feeling about because I feel like I can express myself better in the language of math. And it is like the universal language of our entire existence. Anyways, math is cool. And I like helped her with her math homework and I helped her get her GED, even though, we had some fucking history. She was funny though. She actually turned out to be like a very lovely, like we all are. We're just like these sad, funny, broken, fucked up, like terrible people sometimes, and then sometimes we are so human. And it's actually like, because we're all the same. Oh my God, I know. Are you sick of me saying that? I'm just kidding. I love you. I don't care. So I helped her with her math. I went through that time really easily. I got out of the mental health unit and it was just so crazy to go through that whole process of being like released from jail. And now it's really different. Now I'm not like, wondering what's going to happen next. Now I don't have this big question mark of like, oh my gosh, I have to get back to my life. It's been such really like a short period of time. And I've had so many extra privileges than I did when I was in actual prison. And like, oh my God, guess what? No one fucking raped me in the mental health unit. I mean, I think that that's like amazing, like that's amazing. And you guys know, maybe you don't know, maybe you should go to episode 17 and fucking figure it out. But like, if you know, that's amazing. Like I did not get raped once for 90 days. So in the mental health unit, you're in therapy all day long. I mean, yeah, it's like you're still a part of, this sort of like program where they're overrun with people who have mental health issues. Like the majority of prison inmates have some sort of mental health issue. They're either on medication or like the unit I was in was people with like severe mental health issues like schizophrenia, bipolar, things where they had to be heavily sedated and would often break out in, pretty serious and seemingly unpleasant outbursts. But I mean, you're in prison, like you're in jail. Everything's unpleasant, like if you're not screaming your head off, like what are you even doing? Like it fucking sucks. I mean, the medicine doesn't work that well, So you're in therapy for, I want to say like 4 hours every day. So we're not like in rehab anymore. It's not 8 to 8. It's not fucking, like butts in the seat, shoes on the floor. You've got to like sit through all of this garbage self-help AA bullshit that's like not real or helpful. This is more like we're in group therapy with like 7 to 10 people, and we're talking about, you know, like how the world is fucked up, how like we're fucked up, like why are we fucked up, like where are we fucked up, like what does it even mean, and how do we heal? You know, how do we heal? And what's really interesting is this is probably, you know, the first time that I had to sit back and reevaluate my like perspective. Like I need to heal. So like how do I heal? Like what does that even mean? How does that become part of my existence? And the other part of our day was filled with like art therapy. And oh my gosh, we had this art therapist, Mrs. C is what we would call her. And she was like this vegan, hippie, intellectual, like white, privileged woman, you know, like sitting with all of these people who like could not relate to her on any level. And she was just a fucking light in our life. You know, she brought us art supplies. She would bring us music. We would watch movies with her once a month. She always had, you know, really like interesting and thought provocative things to say. And like, you could tell that she was privileged. You could tell that she couldn't like relate to anyone's actual life, but she also cared. And that's like this really interesting thing with people who have privilege, but they also have empathy. It's like they understand that the world is unfair and everything's fucked up. And so they want to help, but it's like, how far outside of your own privilege do you want to step in order to help? You know, like, are you going to go to school and become a social worker? Like, are you going to give homeless people money? Are you going to work for a nonprofit? Like, are you going to, you know what I mean? Like, devote half of your income to charity? Like, are you going to like sponsor someone in another country who's way less privileged than you? Like, what steps are you going to take to sort of use your own advantages to help others? And some people don't think about that at all. And some people, it keeps them up at night, you know? And you could tell that Mrs. C was like something that kept her up at night. It was something that she felt drawn to do and something that she felt called for. And I think, you know, to a lesser extent, like what I'm doing right now, it's like I'm entertaining you, you know, like I have this like sexy voice and I'm like telling you all these like funny stories, you know, that are like awful and like dark, but like I make it funny. Like you tell me I'm funny. So like I'm making it funny. But, you know, like I feel that pull, that like that draw to sort of like take my own experiences, to take my empathy and like weaponize it in a way and like use it, you know, to my advantage to connect with people. So I felt connected to this art and I felt connected to Mrs. C and I felt like, you know, honestly, like this was like a healing aspect of my life. And I think maybe it was one of the first times where I was like, oh, had that connection in my brain where I was like, art is healing. You know what I mean? You can take your pain and you can turn it into something positive. You can turn it into something helpful. You can turn it into something meaningful. And I read a lot of books and I met a lot of cool people in jail in the mental health unit. You know, they were all like severely disturbed in one way or another. This one girl I met, you know, was convinced that like demons had like killed her daughter when actually like she did it. And like, you know, she really believed that. And like, there was another girl that like drove her car into someone's house with like her kid in the back seat. And it was like, she also believed that like people were telling her to do that. It's like, these people believe what they're doing and they're not criminals, you know, they're just like disturbed. And like, aren't you disturbed? Like, I'm disturbed. You know, I have some fucking fucked up thoughts. Like, I can't walk past a tall building without thinking how awesome it would be to jump off of it, you know? And it's like, I thought that for so long, and then one day I did it. So I think that it's like, yeah, I'm just as fucked up as these people, but like, I just, you know, it's like came out in a different way. So I didn't feel different from them. I didn't feel like a separation. I felt like home, you know? I've always felt home in jail. It's never been like somewhere I didn't feel completely like I belong there. I mean, I don't feel that way when I do comedy. I don't feel that way when I do comedy at all. I go to an open mic and I feel like I'm in high school and no one wants to sit with me and everyone hates me and they think I am ugly and I look weird. I do. That's how I really feel. That's how I genuinely feel. And it's like, I hear some comics say that when they go on stage, it's like the 4 minutes of their life that they feel alive. I've never felt that way. Not once. Even if I have a great set, I'm just like, that was okay. It doesn't mean anything to me. But like when I'm in jail, when I'm podcasting, when I'm like hugging someone I love, when I'm like telling someone I care about like a secret that they don't know yet, I feel home. I feel home. And also, speaking of home, when I was in jail, Gigi wrote me every single day. Every day. And Gigi and I had some of our best fucking most poignant and deep conversations, like while I was in rehab / mental health / actually jail, that 83 days. Oh, I still have this one letter that she wrote me that I'm honestly going to get like framed and even I posted a sentence of it on my Instagram. So if you follow me, you've seen this. If you don't, what are you doing with your life? Why do I have more listeners than followers? Anyways, I had this letter that she wrote me, after our like correspondence where we would literally just write each other every single day, where she said that she never felt more understood. And I like, oh my God, I'm going to cry just thinking about that. Like that was probably one of like the best, most connected like moments of my life. This like horrible woman that I loved more than anything that pretty much like tortured me my whole life and like ruined my mother. Like, oh my God, like she felt connected to me. She felt understood. And if like Gigi can feel understood by me, like this crazy bitch, like we all, that's like, there's hope for everyone, She was my Darth Vader. She was for sure my Darth Vader because she was like for sure on the dark side. But like sometimes you love the dark side, sometimes the dark side is like what made you. Sometimes the dark side is like why you exist, and like that's hard. That sucks. But like that's real, man. That's like all of us, like how many people don't have like racist grandparents in this day and age? I mean, I don't know. I don't want to talk about it. So my Uncle Keith, who is my favorite uncle. And I don't know if he listened to the podcast because he's never like reached out to me and said anything about it, but he does like follow me on Facebook. So there's like a lot of times that I'll like post something that's private on Facebook. And the reason why it's private is because I don't want my aunts and uncles to see it. So anyways, my Uncle Keith like did me a solid, I guess, he is such a sweetheart. And he used to send me books all the time when I was in jail. And he wrote me letters like once a week. Gigi was writing me every day because that bitch was the best human that's ever lived. And my Uncle Keith would send me books like once a week because he is also amazing. So my birthday was like a week after I was supposed to get out of rehab. And he scheduled a surprise court date for a week before my birthday. And I didn't know that I had it until the day of. And when you have a court date in Cook County, what they do is like this terrible thing where they wake you up at fucking 3 a.m. and they're like, get dressed, get ready, get on a bus, like hurry up and wait. We're going to put you in a cold cell by yourself for 4 hours, from like 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. so that you can get on this bus, so you can get driven to wherever you're going to court so that you can, sit in another cell for fucking 16 hours. But oh, Keith, I love you so much. It was such an awesome birthday present, probably the best birthday present I've ever had and will ever have. But he scheduled this court date because the judge that I originally had retired. And so I had a new judge. And it was a woman, and she was young, and he knew her fairly well. So he asked her to release me early because he said that, my family was like taking responsibility for me, and he had employed me at his firm, and I was, about to get ready to leave to go to Japan for this job that he had hired me for. So he told me he told the judge that I needed like time, to like prepare and really what he was doing. And he even told me, he like put me in like a little like conference room before I went up in front of the judge. And he told me, he told me that he was getting me out for my birthday, and that was like his birthday gift to me for like the last 25 years. And so he said, he's like, I know I haven't gotten you a gift for 25 years. This is my gift to you. And I was like, thank you. Thanks. Good luck topping that one. Anyone I ever date from here on out. You know, all my birthdays are awful and they suck. But like, I mean, you know, like, you remember my last one? It was a month ago. And it was so awful. But like, that was the best birthday gift I've ever gotten. And so he, you know, talked to the judge. She obviously like agreed readily. She was like, you wear glasses and you look nice. You can leave a week early for your job. So I didn't even know that I was getting released the day that I got released. And I didn't know that I was going to court the day that I went to court. And so like a week early, I was surprised with this court date and this like sudden release. So my release kind of came at this like moment where I had a week left. Like I wasn't like sweating it at all. I was just like, whatever, in a fucking 5-star hotel compared to rehab. So I was like, I was chilling. Like I was taking Klonopin, like I was fine. And I gathered all of my things and I gave everything away. And it was almost like I had won the lottery. Like that's how people acted, you know, while I was in jail. Like everyone was surprised that I was, you know, and they like call your name on a loudspeaker and they're like, pack your shit, you're getting out. And like people like literally clap for you. Like that was probably like better than any stand-up set I've ever done. Like that feeling is I was like, you're getting out of jail. Like everyone fucking wants your bra now. You know, they want your Reese's peanut butter cups. I gave away all my books. I gave away all of my food. I gave away all my clothes, literally took my bra off and gave it to this girl married, like literally gave my underwear away because like it was a fucking commodity, you know, it wasn't like cotton. It was like some polyester blend from Target, you know, like took my underwear off in the bathroom, gave it to a girl. She washed them and wore them probably until she got out. So I'm like getting out of jail, no bra, no underwear. I think I kept like a couple of like notebooks and like letters. I had like a folder full of letters and maybe like 1 or 2 books that my uncle sent me that I was like a big fan of. But my box and my like bag of like stuff getting out was significantly smaller than the last time I got released from prison. So I'm getting out. I'm in the holding pen in the basement. You know, I've never been released from Cook County Jail. So this is like a whole new process. It took fucking 15 hours. I'm not even kidding you. They like called me out at 6 p.m. I did not get released until like 11 a.m. the following day. And I spent 8 of those hours in a cell in the basement with a bunch of other people, like a girl who got arrested for prostitution, a girl who got arrested for identity theft. They came and like got her on a plane, like literally got her like off the plane and arrested her at the airport. And she was like in an outfit that she was wearing on vacation that she took with someone else's credit card and like props. But like they like were all these like random people that were waiting to get out, and they were all anxious and nervous and sort of like scared even, you know, like why idiots. But like I had done this before, so I was just chilling, you know, like I might as well have been scrolling on Instagram, even though I didn't have one back then. But like I might as well have just been mindlessly going through my phone for how hard I was chilling in that jail cell waiting to get released. And then it's 11 a.m. the next day, and I've just been, you know, unshowered and dirty and no bra, no underwear, and like in a, you know, jail uniform for a pretty long time. And I finally get out and I walk across the street, and my grandparents, Gigi and Mott, they're waiting in their fucking Cadillac Escalade. That's a car, right? Is that the right name of the car? Yeah, okay. They're waiting in their Cadillac across the street, and my grandfather hands me a giant, perfectly ripe, organic peach. And I just like smiled so big, you know, I smiled like a cat who got the cream. I knew what a fucking lucky bitch I was, you know, like I knew it in that moment. I was just like, man, I have it so good. You know, I just got out of jail. I'm eating this peach, and all I could think was, man, I've got it so good. And like my grandparents are fighting in the front seat of the car. And my grandfather tells my grandmother that she has undiagnosed OCD. And I remember like that moment, like very vividly, because I was like, whoa, everything about my childhood makes sense. And I understand why a sink full of dirty dishes feels like getting yelled at. Like I understood it in that moment. And so I was like, I'm eating this peach and I'm just like smiling my head off, and I'm being like driven to their very nice house where I'm about to take like the most epic bath. If you like to see cool bathtubs, check out my Instagram because I have access to a couple of them. And yeah, so I went home. And it wasn't even my birthday yet. And I got to go home and I got to eat that peach. And I went home and my grandmother made me toast and eggs and tea. And I took a bath and then I slept and then I went on Facebook. I went on Facebook for so long. It had been 90 days. And I was so excited to get my smartphone back. Oh, I'm so addicted to that thing. I wish, technology would like burn to the ground. But like, oh man, like that felt good. That felt so good. Oh, that felt so good. Feels good now to like be, where I'm at. But now I've got a week, I've got a birthday, I've got Japan, I've got this boy, I've got 2 years of intensive drug probation, and I've got like, life in front of me. I've been sober for 83 days now, which is, the longest I've been sober since I got out of prison. And it's not like I couldn't buy drugs in jail. It's not like I couldn't buy drugs in rehab. Like I very easily could have. I had money, I had access, I had the connections. Like I knew where they were. I saw Big Baby again. Like I'm not even kidding you. She was in Division 17. I saw her and she like asked me if I wanted shit. And I got home and I'm sober for 83 days. And now I have 2 years of intensive drug probation. And I'll get into more of that later. But essentially what that entails is weekly drug tests, piss tests, weekly, every week. What? Are you kidding me? Every week I have to pee into a cup. And, it's like there's no way around that. Ironically enough, they couldn't test for the drugs that I got arrested for. You know what I mean? Like I got arrested for acid. I got arrested for DMT. I got arrested for Molly. Like none of that shit is going to come up in like a piss test. Like maybe amphetamines if the Molly is like dirty. But like none of that stuff you're going to be able to test me for except pot. A weekly drug test, it's like you can work your way around that. The only thing I really can't get away with is weed. So it's like now I actually have to stop doing the thing that I'm addicted to doing. I already have, it's been 83 days, but it's not like that first day I was out. It's not like I was in that bath not thinking like, oh, what would make this amazing? A bowl. But I couldn't. I was going to Japan and like you cannot smoke weed in Japan. Like, like I wish you could, but smoking weed in Japan is like catching a gun charge in Chicago. It's like the same equivalency of severity. It's very, very dangerous to have weed in Japan or any, drug in any kind of Southeast Asian country, but that's neither here nor there. I was clean for 83 days and I was entering into intensive drug probation and I was leaving to go on a work trip to Japan because I am a fucking dumb, privileged bitch. And that was my life at the time, So it's like I took that bath, I ate that peach, and the beautiful breakfast that Juji made me. And I was just like, okay, I'm sober now, I'm sober now. And it's not like I worked around it. It's not like, okay, I do cocaine or like, okay, I drink now. It was just like this sort of acceptance and realization and understanding that I was sober. I used to have nightmares about smoking weed and like failing drug tests. Like, honestly, I dreamed so much during that time. It was very awful and unpleasant. I don't enjoy dreaming. And I'll explain why later. But I was sober and now I'm sober. So now you're going to get to hear what it was like for me to be sober. I know you're probably going to think it's less exciting, but it's not. And the next episode is all about Japan and all about being sober and all about my interesting / damaged / exciting life. Are you excited to be here? I'm excited that you're here, and I love you so much. I really, 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 really love you. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for every single one of you. I'm not even kidding. We're best friends. And, hang out with me. Bon voyage.